गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. So we are taking the Brahmananda Valli, that is, this Pancadasi is means 15 chapters, and these 15 chapters are then divided further into 5 chapters each one taking the topic of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. That means the first 5 chapters address what is that the reality is existence. It has never not been, it is always. Then second is the second set of 5 chapters address the Jnanam, that it is of the nature of knowledge, it is of the nature of consciousness, and that you are, don't forget that part. That is always unsaid but repeated oft. And the last 5 chapters are about Ananda and how I am, I know I am. So I am is Sat, I exist. I know I exist is the knowledge, the Jnanam. When this I know that I am truly takes place inside of you, at that very moment the Ananda, the bliss expresses out of you. And that bliss, which is the nature of this reality, which is not other than the self, is taken up for discussion in the 11th chapter, 11th to the 15th chapter of Pancadasi. And in this way, the first verse goes, and the first verse is talking about the the sadhana chatushtaya, means what are the qualifications required. Here it says that Brahmanandam pravakshami nyate tasminna sheshatah aihika mushmikanartha vratam hitva sukhayate. Again, these 5 chapters, each chapter, the first chapter that we are addressing, this taking up now, is called Brahmanandam. Brahmanande Yogananda. That is the name of the chapter. Then the next chapter is, the second chapter is Brahmanande Atmanandaha. Then 13th chapter is Brahmanande Advaitanandaha. Then 14th chapter Brahmanande Vidyanandaha. And the last chapter Brahmanande Vishayanandaha. How even the Vishaya is what? What is Vishaya? The various objects, the names and forms are also nothing but of the nature of Brahmananda. That is the conclusion of this Ananda Mimamsa. So here it is told in the first verse, Brahmanandam pravikshami nyate tasminna sheshatah aihika mushmikanartha vratam hitva sukhayate. He says, I hereby declare what is the bliss infinite, having known this, having known this, having known what? Having known this bliss, hordes of miseries of this world and the other are discarded and bliss infinite is attained. So, who is this? This is our Vidyaranya Swami, who has written these 15 chapters. He is saying, he is declaring. This is not by Adi Shankaracharya. So, just like in Vivek Chudamini, just like in the Upanishads, everywhere it is, the four questions are very important to keep our focus as to what we are studying and what is our goal. And what is the first question? To whom is the text addressed to or intended? Who is the person to whom it is being told? Second, what is the subject matter of this chapter? That we must be always clear. And in that context, we should study the whole chapter, isn't it? Otherwise, we go here, there, everywhere, and we forget what the subject matter is. Third question, what is the relationship and what is the purpose of this study, of this chapter? So, here it says, Brahmanandam pravakshami. Pravakshami means I declare, I tell you, I say. What is that? About Brahmanandam. I am going to talk about Brahmanandam, and this is the subject. This is not the object. This is the subject. So where is the subject? Is the subject in the book? Is the subject, can the subject be talked about? Huh? The topic is Brahmanandam, but that subject, Brahmanandam, is you yourself, essentially. So it is not somewhere outside. So this is the subject that is being talked about. So even though here it is being told this is the subject, you take it subjectively. What is the, this is the subject. What is the purpose of this exposition? Anartha vratam hitva. Hitva, that anrutam, anartha vratam hitva. That is, that removal of all miseries. And for what do we remove all the miseries? Just for the sake of removing miseries. We remove the disease for the sake of removing the pain. No, so that we become healthy, isn't it? So, what is the purpose of removal of miseries? Dukkha nivritti sukha prapti. We remove the difference. We are studying this subject or we subjectively so that the miseries are removed in toto, not only of this world but of the other world also. What is the other world? This world is the physical that we see, all the things that come. But the other world is the miseries that come from within and attack the mind, and we get disturbed at the level of mind. There is no object, no person, no time, no situation, which is you are sitting in your home all by yourself and you are going into becoming miserable with your own company. With your own company. That removal, that is the other world. Okay? Because once we get thought fixation on anything, we get obsessed with some idea. What is that obsession? That, for example, someone didn't give me food. That topic is over 2-3 days ago. But I am still thinking that person did me. I think he doesn't like me. I think he doesn't love me. I think she is purposely did that. This is obsessively relating to that past memory. You're still in the past, in another world which was 3 days ago. Now we have to remove. So the top. Someone has come. So come inside. It's cold there. Come in here.
I can shift you.
Have a chair here.
So, dukkha nivritti, so removal of miseries not only of this world but also of the other world. And then what is the other side of it? Sukha prapti. Sukha prapti, we remove miseries for gaining happiness, for gaining satisfaction. What is satisfaction? When your mind is prasanna, your mind is happy, not because of anything, isn't it? If you have just spent so much time with Anubhavananji, you laugh throughout. You are in a happy mode all the time, throughout, even in the retreat. But is there any cause for it? No cause. Someone wrote, they had given their email, and next to that he read, "Oh, fantastic! I feel so light and happy," in the comments. That we should not feel about someone, but about ourselves. So the purpose of this exposition of Brahmananda is, for the purpose is dukkha nivritti, sukha prapti. And this sukh that we are we want to gain is not that joy which comes and goes. It is not a satisfaction which is temporary. We want permanent satisfaction. And that permanent satisfaction is nirankusha trupti. Trupti, contentment. Nirankusha, causeless contentment. And that is our goal. So, when these two things come about, that is removal of miseries and attainment of contentment or joy or bliss or happiness, that is what Jivan Mukti is. Causeless joy is a sign of fulfillment, isn't it? And that is Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti, that is realization. Self-realization is not an event which is gained at a particular time after doing something. Self-realization is not a result of action. We must catch that. It is not a result. So when we say, "Oh, after this studies I will get bliss," forget it. After doing my sadhana, self-realization will happen. Forget it. Not after. You have to begin with the premise that the self is ever free even if the mind is ignorant. This whole study is not for the self, it is for the mind. And mind is being observed by the self at this moment also. So in this way, the teacher says, "I am going to teach this text called Brahmananda." It means that not only will he teach the text to the best of his ability, but also will teach so that the student is able to understand the topic. That is what the teacher can do. But truthfully speaking, it is as much as what teacher can do is only inspire. But the true teaching and understanding lies in the hands of the student, not in the hands of the teacher. So many teachers are continuously speaking about the same thing with inspiration also. But if the student is not available, if the student is not having faith, if the student is not clear about what he wants, does he just want to appreciate it intellectually, or does he want to study it study this topic subjectively? Even while listening, he is subjective about the whole topic. That is in the court of the student, not in the up to the teacher. But when he says pravakshami, pravaksha means I will teach. That teaching implies teaching with inspiration and teaching in such a manner that the understanding becomes easy for the student. You must have seen many times the pravachan karta, they speak such such a complicated language, such big words that we are not able to, by the time we understand what that word is, he is already gone ahead, isn't it? Many places it happens that way. Especially in Hindi lectures, sometimes I go, or even if you take certain commentaries on Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita, uh, I don't know, it's not, there when we were studying, we bought a text, a thick book, two or three of them, from Ramakrishna Mission, and that was a commentary by Swami Gambhiranand on the various Upanishads. You read it sometime, even online it is available. You can't go past one paragraph. It is so complicated English. English also is so complicated. Big words. And written in such a manner which is very old English type. So, language should be such that it inspires the student and the student is able to understand. And not to mention that this Brahmanandam is not just the subject matter of this text, but it is also our essential nature. And we must approach it in that manner. The word indicates the goal of life, the knowledge that is Aham Brahmasmi. And this knowledge, this I itself is Upanishad. The same approach is adopted here in referring to Brahmananda. So, therefore, this Brahmananda is I myself. It is not a subject to be, it is not an object to be pursued. Because we don't pursue ourselves, we are always ourselves, complete in ourselves. Nobody ever says, like you go after food, you go after money, you go after business, you go after relationship. Nobody goes after himself. No, where are you going? I'm going to myself. Does anyone say that? I'm searching for myself. And therefore, Mahatmas have said, the search for the self is the biggest, what is that? Mistake. Is the most miserable search. So if this background is kept in the mind, that the search for the self is the most miserable search, because you can never find the self, because you are the self. Then what is all this studying going on for? For what? What is all this study? Why are we studying it then?
To cleanse the mind.
To who needs to understand? Individual can never come to know Brahmananda.
Mind to dissolve.
For the mind to dissolve. For the mind to dissolve. And it needs to do only once. You don't need to keep getting married again and again to prove that to know that you are wife. Isn't it? You don't need to have children again and again to prove that or become established in motherhood. Do you? Similarly, we don't need to know the self, come to know, dissolve the mind and be the self again and again. Only once. Only once. And it's a click. And that can happen when the mind becomes completely quiet, and after that whether mind is busy or not busy, it does not matter. You are there. From our the other one path is, first we wean away our mind from the world, then the mind accepts, comes to the conclusion that it is not the body, not the senses, but it is the conscious principle, the Atma, And the third stage is that this Atma is not one per person, it is one and the only one. Atmanande Brahmanandam. So, we first, giving up the world means giving up the various roles which keep you entangled in the world. All these pseudo eyes that we are living with, or living as. From them, from all these various pseudo eyes, we come back to the one who is supporting all these. Who is supporting all these? The Atma, the conscious self, that I am, the conscious principle. And once we come to this conscious principle, then recognizing, coming through studies of scriptures and contemplation, coming to the conclusion that this conscious principle is not one per person, it is one alone. And in this way, we come to the Brahmanande Paramanandam.
Only, you explained that the difference between a yoga and jnana, yoga and Veda. Yoga is mind control. It's not really control. It's making the mind silence. That's yoga.
No,
Huh?
no. If you study the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the first three verses conclude in the yoga. What is the yoga? First is Atha Yoga Anushasanam, first verses. These are the instructions of yoga. What is the instruction? First instruction, Chitta Vritti Nirodha iti yoga. Sublimation of the thoughts in the mind is yoga. And the third, concluding verse, Tada Drashtuhu Swarupe Avasthanam. Having sublimated the thoughts in the mind, then Tada Drashtuhu, watch the Swarupe Avasthanam. What is the position of the one who is knowing that the thoughts in the mind have sublimated? Shift your attention from the thoughts. Once thoughts have sublimated, mind has become empty, mind has become dissolved, then don't keep looking into emptiness. At that very moment, Tadadrashtu, make a U-turn and seek. Who is this one who knows that the thoughts have dissolved?
This is all Veda.
That is all yoga.
Yoga.
Now, because people are not able to do this third top point, the student becomes confused. But what do you mean by chitta vritti nirodha? What type of thoughts are there? What is mind? Natural. So he is not focusing on what is to be. It's very simple. 3 steps and it's over. But after that, the entire hundreds of sutras are only explaining these 2 verses, 2 sutras. Then he says, what is meditation, what is samadhi, how does the mind go into samadhi, what are the different types of samadhi, what are the different types of thoughts. And he goes into unwanted areas. Why? Because he is not able to do the first the 2 steps. What is that? Sublimation of the thoughts. Sublimation of the thoughts does not mean that you have to make your mind empty of thoughts. You don't have to make mind empty of them. You have to take that position where the thoughts in the mind are not able to affect you anymore. That's all. Do you consciously every night dissolve all the thoughts in the mind before going to sleep? Do you? So think, every sadhana that is given in the Upanishads, Vivek Chudamani, Pancadasi, so many texts that we are studying, you are doing those sadhanas, those techniques every day unknowingly. Masters have recognized, have caught those moments and they have penned them down. So do you sublimate your mind before going to sleep? Because if there is mind continuously active, you cannot go to sleep. You are then in dream, isn't it? Then what do you do to make your mind zero to go to sleep? What do you do?
You prepare your bed so they're comfortable, so So you empty the mind.
She says that. Anyone else?
Nothing.
She says nothing. What
Nothing.
else?
It happens by itself.
Huh?
It happens by itself.
It happens by itself. Okay. What do you say, Renuka?
It happens by itself. Sir.
Okay. Uncle?
Same thing, you go, you lie down, you sleep straight there.
You lie down, you go to sleep.
Yes.
Surendran? It's
Actually, I don't know.
it's my natural state. Arey Baba, you have to think of sleep. If the goal is not clear, you will never go to sleep. So you're going to bed and preparing the bed, you're coming to nothing, etc. All the things that you said, will they happen if your focus is not on sleep? It will not, isn't it? So your goal is very clear. So from the time you leave this satsang, your attention will be automatically that conviction, that fixed idea that I must go to sleep so that I am fresh tomorrow or whatever, that I am tired, I had a big day, I had a fulfilling day, now it's time to go to sleep. That thought of sleep directs all the activities. You don't decide now I have to prepare the bed to go to sleep. It's automatically happening. You don't make a decision that now I have to change clothes into night clothes so that I can get into the bed. If the sleep is strong, you don't even change clothes. You'll just go into the bed. So you are not dropping thoughts. The thoughts are getting dropped of their own accord because your attention is on something subtler, isn't it? And what is that subtler? A sleep state. Exactly the same way. When our attention is on the subject matter, on the Atma, on the conscious self, not with tension. If you have tension and no, I must, then it will create a reaction. You watch yourself. What do you do in order to bring about the thought of sleep? What do you do every day in order to prepare for sleep? Do you prepare or preparation automatically takes place? Because it is guided by the thought called sleep, isn't it? Similarly, why? Because you have become convinced in your life that if I don't sleep, I will not be fresh. I will not be effective, isn't it? So when we replace that thought with I must become convinced with the thought that I must know myself as Brahm, what is the topic? Brahmananda Yogananda, that I must recognize myself as the bliss infinite. I must unite with the self that, the Paramatma that essentially I am. When this takes over your imagination, then all your activities in the day will be guided by that conviction, isn't it? Your conviction that you are the wife guides all the activities as a wife. Your conviction that you are a mother guides all the activities. When you go to a new job, your conviction that I am a new employee and I have to learn this job, this method of working and the hierarchy and various job responsibilities, you put effort, automatically the efforts come out of you because you are convinced that you want to be successful at that job and you want to do your best, isn't it? So what is the motivating factor? For withdrawal from the world every night, the sleep is the motivating factor because you're convinced of it. And when we come to a satsang, we say, please replace sleep by self realization of the self or abidance in the self, which you already are. So let the mind become convinced of it. Then all the activities in your life will automatically be guided by that thought. When that happens, then brahmacharya, the one who walks to Brahman, it automatically happens. then automatically the sannyasa vritti, the renunciate, it's not physical renunciation, it's mental renunciation. The mind automatically is dispassionate towards everything. Then whether you wear these clothes or you don't wear it does not matter. तस्मिन् अशेषतः ज्ञाते ऐहिका अमुष्मिका अनर्थ वृतं हित्वा सुखायते. So, when the truth is known fully and exhaustively, that there is not even an iota of doubt left as to our essential nature. If one doubt is there, you have still not known it. If question is there about the self, you have not known it. When that happens, then all miseries in toto leave you once and for all. Then this obsession and attraction and fear of heaven and hell, the other worlds that we are talking, miseries of the other worlds. Hell is a other world, so you don't want to go to hell. Heaven is another world, you want to go for what? For happiness. All the terrorists are doing that. They'll get how many wives? I don't know if they. How many?
40 wives.
40 wives. She knows. Huh? So that is their attraction. But that is also temporary. Heaven is not in some after death. We have to, it is here and now. So we don't want to get caught up in any temporary worlds. We don't want to shunt between misery and happiness. Shunting between joys and sorrows is like when you do good deeds, joy is coming. When you do bad deeds, hell is coming. Heaven is coming. Hell. Continuously we are going through that. No, we don't want to get caught up in this. We want to be established in Brahmanandam. And in this way, now the next 9 shlokas, the teacher quotes from the various Upanishads and the Smriti Granthas to substantiate what has been stated in shloka 1. This is no statement is just said for the sake of statement. When we are in the Gyan Marg, here the statement is made, then references towards it is that statement is supported by various scriptures, then examples are given, then restatement of that truth is done, and what is the experience of the truth that is told. And in this way the various, so here it's coming from Brahmavid paramapnoti. You can repeat after me. Repeat after me. Brahmavid paramapnoti shokam tarati chatmavit raso brahmarasam labdhva nandi bhavati nanyatha. The knower of Brahman attains supreme bliss, and the knower of the self in his essential nature to be infinite bliss transcends the miseries of the world of relative existence. The self is of the nature of bliss. Having discovered this blissful self, one attains infinite bliss. Knowledge of the identity between the self and Brahman is the only way to attain supreme bliss. There is no other way. This is Yogananda. What does yoga mean? Union. Huh? So union between what? Not union between husband and wife, wife and children, mother and children. You can take that also, but here we are talking about yoga, the union of Atma and Paramatma, that they are essentially one. The Atma of Shiva and Shakti, the union of Ram and Sita, the Ram, whichever, all represent the same thing. By the time we reach Vishayananda, then the union of the food, the taste and the tongue, that also will become the same bliss, Yogananda. So come to the principle, to the absolute foundation. So here it is told that the knowledge takes place in three ways, at three levels. First is the objective knowledge, and this objective knowledge takes place by two ways. One is vritti vyapti and second is phala vyapti. Where did we do this? In Pancadasi only we did, but also we did it in Upadesh Sahasri. There also this topic came. And this vritti vyapti means what?
Experience with the thought.
And phala vyapti means?
Without a thought.
Gone. Gone. So vritti vyapti is this is. I know this is. So, and phala vyapti means that the result is there. And what this camera is vritti. So the thought of the camera has come. That's it. In mirror only vritti vyapti takes place. Suppose mirror is our mind and a realized person. So he also, a realized master also sees everything. Whatever comes, the thought of that will come in the mind. A person has come, it's daytime, it's night time, hunger has come. That's it. They don't go further than that. Phala vyapti is that this is, I know this is, immediately identification takes place. So truth is beyond these two. In the objective world, in the objective knowledge, the knowledge takes place, this is, I know this is. And there is one more step, I am not this. That third step is also there. But with in case of the self, it is not so. I am, I know I am, but what is the conclusion? You have to go beyond. There is, when I say this camera is and I know this camera, I can see it objectively, isn't it? There is a name, there is a form, I can touch it, I can feel it, I can break it, I can put it together, I can use it. It has a utility. But when I talk about the topic of self, I know this, this is self, I am, but if I know I am, thought comes, you have objectified the self. This is the problem. Self cannot be known like you know the camera. So there is no phala vyapti, only vritti vyapti. So aham brahmasmi, thought comes, I am Brahman. It appears in your mind as a result of contemplation. And then, I am infinite. If it leads to more thoughts, it's phala vyapti. You have lost that plot. So in truth, there is only vritti vyapti, there is no phala vyapti. When there is no phala vyapti, when there is no knowing, because you are that very moment, the second stage, the second level we reach, that is Atma. So first was objective knowledge. First we see that we are pursuing the self objectively by Shravanam, through the books. We are going to satsang, listening to masters. When in our own contemplation we come to, hey, I don't need anything else. I am. Why am I asking people who I am? Who am I? Why is my mind even thinking, who am I? I am. That's it. I don't have an experience of me being not. Isn't it? When this goes deep inside, at that moment, Atma Sakshatkar, or the recognition that I am other than the objective knowledge. And this usually happens at the heart chakra. When the body disidentifies, body disidentification takes place, which is at the Anahat chakra. This is not the topic in Pancadasi, but I am explaining. At that moment, a distinct clarity comes that consciousness, the conscious self, is separate to the body. Only once you need to experience it in your life. After that, and if you remain with it, it will continue to guide further. You will never get identified again back with the body. And even if you do, somewhere later in life, again that will catch. Arey yaar, I know that was something beautiful experience. As if everything, I was free of everything, free of all the shackles. And you will come back to it again. And slowly, slowly, once we feed, we remain as not the body, then naturally the question will come, then who am I? If I am not the body, then who is this person who is other than the body? That's also me. And if you keep contemplating on who is this me, who is this me, who is this I, slowly the journey from a step by step point of view, it goes to the Sahasrar. Whereas here in Panchadashi and all, we are not going step by step, bang, straight. There is no question of a process.
Somebody, self-realization, is it a permanent state? Or in other words, people who have self-realized, do they have to make an effort to
No.
stay in the state?
No. Self-realization is not gained through efforts.
No, after become that state.
Think, again you think, do you gain sleep through efforts? Because if you put efforts, you are still trying to sleep. You are not slept. Isn't it? So if something like sleep cannot be gained through efforts, how can self-realization, which is even more vast, more deep, more subtle, your essential nature, be gained through efforts?
No, after becoming, it is. Do they have to make an effort to be?
No. You're not listening. Does a wife need to get married again and again to recognize that she is wife? Does she need to remind herself again and again? Once a wife, always a wife. Once a mother, always a mother. Once you have eaten your food, you are full, you have to keep telling to yourself, oh, I am full now, I am full now, I am full now. Do you have to say that? Once you are satiated, you are satiated. And Atma Sakshatkar or self-realization is complete satisfaction, complete contentment. After that, there cannot be a desire for anything else. Impossible. See? So the second level of knowledge is Atma Jnanam. And what is this Atma Jnanam? That I am Atma, I am the conscious self. And in this, that the seeker goes through. So first, he goes through the objective knowledge, comes to this Atma Gyan. He has recognized the worlds of the objects of the world, relationships of the world, possessions of the world, the names and forms can never make him contented, give him contentment. Then he comes to, then what can? Then he comes to himself, the body. And then he goes through the analysis that I am not the body, I am not the breath, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. He comes to that I am the conscious principle. Can he come to it straight? Is he the conscious principle anyway? Yes, he is. But mind is not accepting that initially. So this whole journey, as we said, is for the mind. And once this knowledge takes place, that I am the conscious principle and not the body, only once it needs to take place, that's all. Then it will, just like only once you were born and once you have experienced sleep, only once, then every day, because we are living on a daily basis, every day automatically at the right time the thought of sleep comes, and everything gets guided by that sleep, isn't it? Similarly, only once you need to recognize within yourself that you are the conscious principle and not the empirical self, the body. Once that clarity, that conviction, that click comes about, then everything will be guided in your life by that conviction. The mind will automatically overhaul itself. It will find reasons to prove. See, our problem is when we study the scriptures, we say, oh, it is so difficult. How can it be practical? That is, majority of the people say that. Not here, but majority. Why? Because they want to make this knowledge useful in their life, in their daily interaction with the world. It will automatically happen. See?
So, that in the scriptures or in satsang and all that we learn that we are not the body, we are the self. That's only learning part. But in order to get into that stage, like we are that, there's a difference there, isn't it, Swamiji?
In the mind.
So,
In the mind, because mind is not convinced of it. You have not analyzed your whole life, therefore you are not convinced. See, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a children, you have your parents, you have a house, you have a job, you got so many things. Why do you remain with that all the time? Because that gives you a sense of belonging, a sense of contentment, a sense of happiness, a sense, an area where you can share yourself with others, isn't it? You can exercise control, etc., etc. So many things. You don't say that to yourself on a daily basis, but this is what is happening, isn't it? Once you realize that I can never, and problems come in daily life. Once you realize and analyze your day, every day, which has been more or less the same, that really speaking you have never had any control. Really speaking, you were thinking that you are happy, but it is not permanent happiness. When you analyze the whole thing, then you'll ask, where can I get permanent satisfaction? Where can I get permanent contentment? If names and forms are not able to give it to me, if my child is not able to give it to me, if my husband is not able to give it to me, if my house is not able to give it to me, if my emotions are not able to give me the happiness, I am on a roller coaster ride with the emotions. When I see that even my concepts, as a child I had different concept, today I have different concept, and if I come across someone who is very, very convincing, then my concepts change because I get influenced by that person. It happens. So concepts are also changing. So all this leads to confusion after some time. When you analyze, then if you stand apart and look at the whole thing, that this is the pattern of my life, how the mind has interacted with the whole information, with the world. Now I need to seek, where can I get permanent satisfaction? Where can I get permanent happiness?
so we go through this. This is not it, this is not really giving you any happiness. This every day your life is yo-yo. But even then it's hard to get out of that.
Because you are caught up in the default process. Because you are not convinced. I am using this word today quite a lot. You are not convinced about your essential nature. You are not convinced that by coming to yourself you will attain ultimate happiness. You are not convinced of it. Some people are masochist, they say, no? Masochist is who enjoys hurting himself more and more. and gets joy in that. We are all like that. Every day we go, hit ourselves with miseries, take on miseries, and say, "Ah, it was a fulfilling day," and go to sleep. Every day we do that. Sadist is he who gives pain to others. Masochist is he who gives pain to himself. So we give ourselves physical pain by working hard, mental pain by thinking unwanted emotions. You see? So we are detrimental to ourselves. But when you stand apart from all this, look at the life as a whole, your life, not someone else's, and see, this is the pattern. This is how I hit the axe on my own foot every day. I dig my grave every day. And I have not become content. Still the anger is there, still there's no sense of completeness. Rather than coming to this conclusion deeply, not just superficially, then what is the answer? The answer, okay, God has given me the opportunity to come to a satsang. In satsang it is told, you are the self, that is where you will get the ultimate contentment. See? So, how do you come to the self? How do you come to the self? You are the self. You are the self. The analysis is, the world is known through thoughts. Self cannot be known through thoughts. Because of the self, the thoughts are known. Have that disposition all the time. You have come to the Atma. At least the witnessing self you have come to, isn't it? So you don't have to do much. All you have to do is shift your attention. We are continuously thinking of the world. Stop thinking about the world, or let the mind think about the world. You take the position that in whose presence these thoughts are coming and going? In my presence. Who am I? Then this I has to be someone different than the world. I can know the world. Can I come to know myself? What a foolish question. How can I see myself? How can I know myself? And this is what the three levels are being talked about. The first was the objective knowledge. Second is the self-knowledge. And then recognizing that this individual, you come to the Atma, this Atma is of the nature of Brahman. This is the third stage, third level. And will that happen by itself? No, unless and until you are not exposed to satsang, this idea, this thought, once it has to go in, and that's it. So we are at the second level still. We have not gone to the third level. So first level was vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. This is a camera and I know this camera. When it comes to the self, I am and I know I am are not two separate thoughts. Both are one and the same, isn't it? So there is no phala vyapti, there is no objective knowledge of the self possible. Nobody says I am not. At this moment you are saying you know that you are. And the third stage, Brahma Jnanam, that this I am Atma, I am the conscious self, is not the final destination, that this essential self that I have come to know myself to be without a thought is not one per person, but it is the one alone who is expressing in and through every being and every object. These are the three stages that is told here in the Chandogya Upanishad. Brahmavit paramapnoti shokam tarati chatmavit raso brahma rasam labdhva anandi bhavati nanyatha, and this results in the bliss and when this is recognized, this thought-free experience comes about that Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, that this Atma is the one pervading the entire everything, then that there is nothing else other than me. Such is the, at that moment, the what you call, all otherness, all differences, all illusions, all identifications, all the effects of Maya, Prakriti, all of that goes away in toto. Only you are left. You as the one alone. Because we see the differences, but actually there is only one. That is Advaita philosophy. In Vedanta, Vedanta is not a knowledge of something. Vedanta is knowledge of yourself without a thought. Veda Anta. Vedas are words. Vedas are alphabet. Vedas are the language. Vedas are nothing but the language formulated to explain you something. Vedanta, where the words end, there you are. See? Where the words end, there you are. So Vedanta is not a philosophy. Vedanta is not a concept. Vedanta is not an idea. Vedanta is not a process of analysis. Vedanta is you yourself, essentially. But we use it very loosely, the Vedanta philosophy.
Swamiji, you said the knowledge. Then the knowledge word also would not be there.
No, self cannot know itself, yet it is all knowing. When you give up the obsession of knowing something outwardly, objectively, that very moment you fall back into yourself. When the sleep finishes, ends, then the world begins. So that causal state, which was of the nature of bliss, but under the influence of ignorance, that bliss state, that causal state, that deep sleep state, when you wake up, it becomes the total world that you see, isn't it? That is the womb. So it's expanding into everything. Coming to Brahmananda means recognizing that in the first stage was we became convinced that we are the Atma. In the second stage, we came to know that we are the Atma. The first stage, we are not the world, we are the something else other than the world. Second stage, we are the Atma. But where is this Atma? Inside this body. That's what the second stage is, second level is. Third level, that there is no inside and outside, there is only one, and that I am. And then just that vision that you have about yourself, even if you look at the various parts of your body, but the feeling is I am. You don't feel this is not my hand, or you don't feel this is not my finger. You don't say that I am also functioning through the toes. You don't say I am functioning, now I am digesting. You don't say that I have a head. Everything I am, isn't it? Expanded to infinity is Brahmanandam. Expanded to infinity. Then your eyes are looking at the entire world of names and forms and people and objects and the past and future and whatever is coming. Everything I am. Nothing is able to influence. Yeah? Because the phenomena will continue. You have got no control over the phenomena. So phenomena continues, but you have recognized that this entire phenomena is nothing but the self. And therefore, the anand, the joy, therefore the bliss, unadulterated bliss, homogeneous bliss, which is uncaused. It's not because of something or someone. It's your essential nature.
Swamiji, this world and all the universe and everything what we are looking at, it is almost all of them are, not all of them are manifested, isn't it, Swamiji?
What do you want to say?
No, so that means if you go back to that, if you say that I am alone, I am the Paramatma, that means we are going back to unmanifest?
No,
Is it?
Paramatma is not unmanifest.
Um,
Paramatma is the most manifest thing that there can be. See, manifestation and unmanifestation comes only when you look at the world.
Mind, isn't
When
it?
you look at the mind, yes. So, deep sleep, waking and dream are manifest and unmanifest.
yeah,
Paramatma is beyond that.
beyond that,
So it cannot be unmanifest.
yet to be manifest?
But it supports both manifestation and unmanifestation. You can even use different language. It expresses because it is everything. So it alone is expressing as manifestation and unmanifestation, yet transcendental to both. Yet transcendental to both. In 9th chapter of Gita, the 4th or 5th verses, Bhagavan says, Lord Krishna says that the world is in me, I am in the world, yet I am transcendental to both. Neither the world is in me nor I am in the world. Who can say that? Who is beyond it, isn't it? Who is one? And in this way, the Brahma Jnanam is a stage, is the level where all the knowers and all the known, I alone am. I alone am. And where are all the knowers and all the known? Where are they? In my mind alone, isn't it? So the whole mind gets permeated by the conscious self, the bliss of the self. And in this way, Shokam cha tarati atmavet, he who has discovered that he is the Atma, for him all differences of knower and known vanish once and for all. Once and for all. There is no falling down and coming to an individuality ever possible for that person again. And in this way, only where the knower and known are separate to each other, there alone miseries can arise. Where there is difference, where there is sense of otherness, there alone miseries come. But where everything is recognized as the self alone, miseries will come for whom and from whom? Everything is self alone. And as a result, raso brahma rasam labdva. In where? I think it comes in Taittiriya Upanishad. Raso vaisaha. He is of the nature of ras, of nectar. This is the nectar of Brahmananda. When all the knowers and knowns have become one in the heat of realization. And those who are established in this, they are happy in their own company. They are never lonely. They are happy in the aloneness. And that is the big sign. They never seek out company. Look at Dattatreya Maharaj, look at Shirdi Sai Baba, look at so many Mahatma stories you read or you watch, you will see that expressing in their life. And in this way, rasam labdva anandi bhavati. That means having discovered his total independence. Rasam labdva, having discovered his total independence, he is now intoxicated. He is now having experienced the nectar of one without the other, that I alone am, that is the nectar. Having discovered the identity between the Atma and the Paramatma, or Atma and the Brahman, the resultant joy, which is uncaused. We are using the words, so it's limited to, we can express only limited in a limited way. But the resultant joy, the resultant ras, that ensues forth, that is called, that brings about nirankusha tripti, unalloyed contentment. Then there is nothing more that can be added. Then then the person, that Mahatma, is Purnamada Purnamidam. He is complete. Even if you take something out of him, he is still complete. Even if something is added into him, it is still complete, because the mind is still functioning. See? There is no lack of anything thereafter. Is complete. Complete is that under all circumstances it remains so. And in this way, this supreme nectar, this supreme bliss can be only attained through direct realization of your own essential self, not by reading books, not by mere listening, but while listening, coming to the essential self. Apply it subjectively even while listening. Let the words remind us. They are only the pointers. The words are only the pointers. Get transported to that point, to what it is pointing. And in this way, Brahmanandam is not attained through search. Brahmanandam is not attained through practice. Brahmanandam is not attained through any sadhana. No practice is required. No search is required. Why? You are. Full stop. Because the moment you search, knower and known have come about. If you do sadhana, I am the doer of the sadhana, and the sadhana has to be done. Whether physical, whether mental, whether intellectual. Then what has to be done? What has to be done? Just, no, not nothing. Just be. Just be. Until that one click comes about. For that, till then, keep thinking of those thoughts which do not lead to any conclusion. Thank you. Brahmanandam is not a conclusive state. There is no conclusion. Infinity is not a conclusion. All pervasiveness does not lead to any conclusion. All knowingness does not lead to any conclusion. The word is all knowing, but nobody has ever experienced all knowing. Because once you know it, that you are all knowing, you vanish. See? So if at all you want to contemplate on such thoughts which do not lead to any conclusion. And one of them is this Brahmanandam. So here Yogananda, Brahmanande Yoganandaha means a recognition that the self itself, the Atma itself is the Brahman. And that results in the bliss.
Swami, self-inquiry is that thinking of a thought that which is not conclusive, isn't it? I mean, something like that. Isn't it? Self-inquiry, they call it self-inquiry.
Yes, we are inquiring into the self.
Inquiring into the self.
Yes. But if it, see, what are we doing right now? We are doing self-inquiry. But really speaking, that is also a misnomer. You cannot inquire into the self because you are. Till this doesn't click to you, till then keep studying. Till it clicks that what a foolish idiot I am. I am searching for myself. I am inquiring into myself. But it has to happen. You can't, oh, that sounds very nice. And it can become an escape route for the mind. That I don't need to inquire. Then, because of the habit of thinking, it will start thinking again about the world rather than being quiet. See? So, inquiry is for the mind. Here, we are listening from the mind, knowing clearly that mind is nothing but thoughts. Therefore, these thoughts can never take us to the self. They are only indicators to the self. What the words we have just used today in last 1 hour 15 minutes, everything that I have spoken, I have listened, you have listened to is, these words are indicating that there is someone in whose presence these thoughts are coming and going. You are that presence. Remain aware of that. Be that presence. I can't even say be aware of that. Be that presence. You may forget some days, some moments, but keep coming back. I am the presence. In my presence, all thoughts are coming and going, emotions are coming and going, moods are coming and going. And the more you stay there, all overhauling, the servicing of that is required, it will take place. Just like you remain aware that you have to go to sleep, overhauling of the mind takes place. The mind vanishes with all the thoughts, with all the memories, with all the expectations, with past, future, present, relationships, possessions, everything vanishes. Then only you go to sleep, isn't it? And you don't do anything to remove that. It happens. Why? The guiding thought at that moment is sleep. Replace that. So you know how the mind without any efforts is able to empty itself. You know on a daily basis. But we have never analyzed that. Now replace the thought sleep with the self, the presence. That I am the presence, and the more you remain with this presence as I, automatically the mind will lose its impact. It will lose its impact. As long as you are identified with the mind, the speed of the mind increases. Just like when I switch it on, the fan keeps rotating. If I switch it off, fan stop. Slowly, but it will eventually stop. The moment I take the position of I am the presence in the presence of whom all the thoughts are coming and going, the moment I take that position, it's like you have switched off. It will take some time, but eventually the mind will calm down. And your experiences every night, it does calm down. It doesn't take too long. It doesn't take too long. So in this way, again another 8 verses are there about various Upanishads. We will see them in our next class. For next 10 minutes, let's sit in meditation. Be the presence, that's all I can say. That's all the Upanishads say. The teacher in this first chapter of Brahmanandam Yoganandam is urging us that we are essentially the bliss infinite. don't sabotage that bliss by becoming someone. Be the presence. Everything else will start taking place, but if it needs to. पूर्णमदा पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ